I want you to picture something with me. You're standing in the back of a room. It's quiet. It's a funeral, but not the kind you're used to. There's no crying in the corner, no chaos, just stillness. The family at the front just lost their patriarch, and right now, in the same week they're burying him, they're also receiving everything he built. And nobody in that room looks panicked. They're not selling anything. They're not scrambling to cover costs. They're just receiving it like it was already arranged, like this moment had been planned for decades, and I didn't understand how. They were transferring an empire. Buildings, portfolios, trusts set up so carefully that moving them to the next generation was almost administrative, like updating a name on a form, and I had never seen anything like it. I left that funeral with more questions than I had ever carried in my life. Not grief, not envy, something worse than both, confusion. Deep, personal, undeniable confusion about why I had never once been in a room like that. I had never once been in a room like that. And the question that followed me home, the one I couldn't shake no matter how hard I tried, was simply this: why not? What did those people know that I didn't? My name is Marcus, and I spent years trying to answer that question. This video is about what I found and why it changed the way I think about money, wealth, and everything in between. There are two completely different ways people relate to wealth, and the difference between them is not income, it's not intelligence, it's not even opportunity, it is thinking. Specifically, what you believe money is actually for. If that sounds like your kind of thing, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button before we get into this, because what I'm about to walk you through is the reason I made this video. You don't want to miss what comes next. Me and Henry. Same neighborhood, same kind of household, working parents, nothing handed to us. Same schools, same conversations about one day making it. For all practical purposes, the exact same starting point. But even as kids, our instincts around money were completely different. When I got $20, I spent it the same day. Henry would hold his, like the money had to earn the right to leave his hand. I thought that was strange. I understand now what I didn't understand then. We're 25 years old. Both of us received $15,000 from a family inheritance. Different relatives, same timing, almost to the month. $15,000 at 25. That is not nothing. That is a real decision. And we made two completely different ones. I took mine and upgraded my life. New car, better apartment, some clothes I'd been putting off, a few dinners I had been wanting to take people to. It felt amazing. For the first time, I felt like I was living at the level I was supposed to be living at. Henry took his $15,000, all of it, and put it into an asset. And then he did something that genuinely confused me when he told me about it. He didn't touch it. Not some of it, any of it. I asked him, "Don't you want to do something with that? Don't you want to feel it?" He looked at me like I had asked a very strange question. Then he said 3 words, "It's already doing something," and walked away. Within 18 months, my upgrade had started costing me. The car had payments I hadn't fully thought through, the apartment was tight, the things I bought to feel successful were now just things, losing value while I paid for them. I hadn't bought a lifestyle upgrade, I had bought a liability. I had planted nothing. Henry had planted something, real. And 18 months later, you could already feel the difference, even if neither of us had the language for it yet. His was growing, mine was shrinking. Henry wasn't working harder than me, wasn't more stressed or more focused in any visible way, but something about his life was starting to move differently than mine. There was a stability to him I couldn't explain or name. I started watching him more closely. The way he made decisions felt different, slower, more deliberate, like he was always thinking one move further out than I was. I couldn't figure out how, but I was starting to believe he knew something I didn't. While I was solving today's problem, Henry was already positioned for next year's problem. While I was thinking in weeks, he was thinking in years. I was always one move behind, and I was only just beginning to realize it.
Something was happening in Henry's financial life that wasn't happening in mine, and it had nothing to do with luck, nothing to do with income, and nothing to do with effort. I needed to know what it was. So one night, just the two of us, nothing formal, just two old friends catching up, I asked him directly, not as an accusation, not with jealousy, just an honest question from someone who was starting to realize he might be missing something fundamental. He didn't give me a lecture, he didn't pull out a spreadsheet, he didn't tell me about a strategy or a system or a philosophy. He just looked at me and said three words I thought were too simple to mean very much. Don't sell assets. That's it. 3 words, delivered without drama, without explanation, without a single extra syllable. And in that moment, I almost dismissed them entirely. At the time, I thought it was too simple to carry real meaning. I almost nodded and changed the subject. I almost let those 3 words pass right through me, the way simple things do when you're not ready to hear them. But that night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I couldn't stop thinking about them. Don't sell assets. 3 words, turning over and over in my mind, like something unfinished, like a question that hadn't found its answer yet. What if money wasn't something you spent when it arrived? What if it was a system, something you built, something you protected, something that worked on your behalf while you lived your life? What if holding was not passive, but the most powerful financial decision you could make? For the first time, I started writing it down, trying to map it out. What did Henry know that I didn't? What was the framework behind those 3 words, and why had nobody ever taught me this before? Same start, same money, same moment in time, completely different destinations, and the gap between them was not closing, it was widening, quietly, consistently, without drama, every single day. By the end of this video, those 3 words, don't sell assets, are going to mean something completely different to you than they do right now. I promise you that, because understanding them fully changed the direction of everything that came after for me. Stay with me. The road ahead is worth every step.
Here's the thing about bad financial decisions. They never feel bad when you make them. Every single choice I made in those years felt completely reasonable in the moment, logical even. The car payment was manageable until the insurance went up. The apartment was affordable until I wanted something better. Each decision on its own looked like a completely normal adult navigating life. Earn, spend, stretch, sell, reset, start over, earn again. Each step felt like a decision, but it was actually a pattern, and I couldn't see it because I was living inside it every single day. I sold a small investment to cover a move, liquidated a retirement contribution to handle an emergency. Each time I had a reason, and each time I told myself it was temporary, just this once, just to get stable, and then I would start building again. Every time I sold something to solve today's problem, I was erasing tomorrow's foundation. I kept ending up back at zero, not because I wasn't trying, because every solution I chose was secretly a reset in disguise. Meanwhile, Henry had done almost nothing dramatic. He hadn't hustled harder or discovered some secret investment. He simply refused to sell. That's the whole move. And that single decision had been quietly compounding for years while I was busy resetting. I was running constantly just to stay in place. More hours, more clients, more output. Henry was sitting still, and his money was doing the running for him. We were not living the same financial reality anymore. He had added to his position slowly and consistently, never dramatically, never with fanfare, and the compounding had reached a point where the asset was generating returns without him lifting a single finger. He hadn't just saved money, he had built something alive. A deal I was counting on had fallen through. I covered the gap the way I always covered gaps. I sold something, and I was tired. Not just financially tired, existentially tired of working hard and feeling like I was always starting over with nothing to show for it. It came to a head at dinner, just the two of us. I had been carrying the frustration for months, maybe years, and that night, something in me finally had enough of pretending I wasn't watching him win. I put my fork down and said what I had been thinking for a long time. Henry, you're not working harder than me. You don't look more stressed. So what are you doing that I am not? What am I actually missing here? Henry didn't get defensive. He didn't raise his voice or make it dramatic. He just said, "You keep selling. Every time something gets hard, you sell. And every time you sell, you go back to zero. I haven't gone back to zero since we were 25. I didn't respond right away. I sat with it, because somewhere underneath the defensiveness I wanted to feel, I knew he was right. I had known it for a while. I just hadn't been willing to say it out loud to myself. He explained it properly for the first time that night. Generational wealth families don't think in transactions, they think in time. And those two things are not just different strategies, they are completely different operating systems for how you relate to money. Transaction thinking means every asset is a potential sale. Every moment of pressure becomes a reason to liquidate. But time thinking means the asset is never really a transaction at all. It is a structure that works while you sleep, while you eat, while you live your life. The asset that stays in place keeps growing on its entire accumulated base, but the asset that gets sold restarts at whatever's left after taxes, fees, and the emotional cost of rebuilding your conviction from scratch. It is not a neutral move. It is a step backward disguised as a decision. I understood what Henry was saying. I believed every word of it. I could repeat it back perfectly. But understanding a principle in your mind and having the identity to actually live it every day, those are two completely different things. My identity was still built around a very specific definition of success: visible things, a good apartment, a good car, the appearance of having made it. And all of that requires constant cash flow, which meant every time pressure arrived, the asset was the first thing to move. For a few months after that dinner, I committed. I told myself I was done selling. I restructured things in my head. I looked at what I had, and I made a genuine promise to myself that this time would be different. But a commitment without a changed foundation is just a plan waiting for the next emergency to arrive, and emergencies always arrive. The commitment was sitting on top of an identity that hadn't changed, and the identity would always win in the end. Henry's assets were generating income he did not have to produce, not a dramatic amount, but enough to create real margin, enough that when life applied pressure, he had options. He could hold, he could wait, he could make the patient decision because patience was still survivable for him. This is the part nobody talks about openly, the emotional weight of structural difference, the way it lives in your body. The Sunday night feeling when Monday is coming and you already know what is waiting for you on the other side of it. The financial gap and the stress gap were feeding each other in a loop. The more pressure I felt, the more likely I was to sell. The more I sold, the more pressure I created for the next cycle. Henry felt less pressure over time, not more, because his structure was absorbing shocks that would have sent me back to zero. I was in a machine that was working directly against me, and the most painful part was realizing that I had designed every single piece of it myself, one reasonable decision at a time. I had been holding one asset, just one. I had held it through 2 moments where I almost sold, through one genuine emergency where I found another way. For the first time, something was actually working the way Henry had described. And then an opportunity appeared. It looked legitimate. It looked smart, like exactly the kind of move a financially savvy person would make. Take the profit, redirect it, level up. My reasoning was sound. My logic was completely defensible. So I sold it. I called Henry and explained the reasoning calmly and clearly, laid out the logic step by step. Any financial advisor sitting across from me would have nodded along and said it made complete sense. Henry was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Okay, that's it. No argument, no lecture, no told you so spelled out in words. Just okay. One word delivered without heat, without judgment, without surprise." I hung up and sat in my apartment, the one I was renting, not owning, and that silence hit harder than any argument could have, because in that one word, I heard everything he wasn't saying. You did it again. You had it, and you let it go, and now the clock resets. For the first time, I didn't try to talk myself out of what I was feeling. I didn't build a new plan or find a new angle to justify the decision. I just sat with it, fully, honestly, and let it be exactly what it was. Something had to change. Not a tactic, not a strategy, not another notebook written in another notebook. Something at the foundation level, something about what I believed and who I was when money applied pressure. That moment, sitting alone in the quiet after that phone call, that was the real turning point. Not the dinner conversation, not the lesson Henry gave me. This moment, sitting alone in that apartment, was the one where the cost of my own pattern finally became completely undeniable. No more rationalizing, no more just this once, just the truth. The gap between us wasn't permanent. It had been built by a pattern, and patterns can be changed. But closing it required something I hadn't done yet. Not a new strategy, but a changed foundation underneath the strategy. This is where everything finally shifts, where the outcome of both paths becomes impossible to ignore, and where the lesson that changes everything gets laid out completely. Stay with me.
10 years, same city, same two people, same starting point a decade ago. I was working harder than I had ever worked in my life. More hours, more deals, more output, and the numbers were not moving. Henry was working less. His structure was doing work he no longer had to do himself. His margin was growing. His options were expanding. I was producing to survive. He was structured to grow. That is not the same life. I went to see him, not casually. I went because I needed to understand something I had been avoiding for years. I expected to see wealth. What I saw instead was structure, assets connected to each other, everything generating, nothing sitting idle, nothing being sold. It was a system, each asset feeding the next, income from one supporting the position of another. The whole architecture built around one principle, continuity. Nothing needed to be sold because everything was generating. I kept turning that sentence over, looking for the flaw. There wasn't one. We sat down and Henry laid it out, simply, directly, without superiority. Just two old friends and a conversation 10 years overdue. Reason 1, every sale is a tax event and a restart. You don't just lose the asset, you lose everything it would have become. The compounding that had been running for years stops. The clock resets. You begin again from a smaller number. Reason 2, compounding doesn't perform in a straight line. It's slow and invisible at first. Then it accelerates in ways that are hard to believe. You cannot pause compounding and resume it. The years you took from it don't come back, especially the years at the end, when the acceleration becomes extraordinary. Reason 3, identity determines behavior. The reason you kept selling wasn't bad decisions, it was what you believed money was for. I believed money was for solving problems. That belief was an identity, and your identity will always win against your strategy. Two identities, two completely different relationships with the same asset. The wealthy hold because they understand that holding is the value. It was never about the asset. The asset just revealed the problem. The problem was my relationship to the asset. I sold because I believed selling was how you accessed value. Henry never sold because he understood holding is the value. Every day you hold is a decision. Every day you protect the compounding is discipline in its most powerful form. I drove home in a particular kind of silence. Not defeat, not envy, something more complicated than either. It was grief, partly, the specific grief of finally understanding what you were doing wrong clearly, with no room left for rationalization. 10 years of selling what I should have held, 10 years of resetting clocks I should have left running, seen from the outside for the first time. But underneath the grief, clarity, not a plan, not a list of steps, just the clean, undeniable clarity of someone who finally knows what the error was. I was not too late. The compounding I had interrupted could begin again. The clock could start, and this time I would not stop it. I was not behind Henry. I was at a different point on the same road, and for the first time, I was walking in the right direction. Here is what I want to leave you with. The question this whole story has been circling. It is not really about wealth. It is about what you believe money is for. If you believe money is for solving problems, you will always be selling, always restarting. If you believe money is a structure, every decision changes. The families that hold generational wealth made one decision about what money is for. That decision became an identity. That identity became a structure. That structure became a legacy. You can make this decision today, not with a large amount, not after solving every problem, now with whatever you have, by deciding that what you are building is not for spending. The wealth that lasts is never the wealth that was sold at the right time. It is the wealth that was never sold at all.